Hello, my name is John Rosebush. I'm the founder, the CEO, and the president of Worldwide Development Corporation. Worldwide Development Corporation has created a new energy invention that can power this planet 15,000 times over for a tiny fraction of the cost of any energy generation technology that exists today. It's based on kinetic energy from water movement. It can be implemented anywhere on the planet. So why am I creating this video today? I want to talk about the HVDC plans that GE has, how it came about, and why this is such a bad idea. So let's start out with what is HVDC? It's high voltage direct current transmission lines. China, about 6 years ago, implemented this technology in their country, and they did it for a couple reasons. One of the reasons was the large dam that they installed. It creates a huge amount of electricity, and they needed to transmit that electricity across the country. Then they also decided that they're going to move a lot of their coal generation in the southern part of their country. That way it will reduce the smog in some of their large cities, specifically Beijing, and I think Shanghai a little bit too. So they're generating from coal plants energy down in the southern part. Well, they needed a way to get that electricity up to where the demand is. So what they did was they installed HVDC lines. And the line losses are much less. It's a little bit less reliable than an AC transmission line. But the line losses are quite a bit significant ability to reduce the amount of electricity loss in their transmission. So they did that. And then they bragged about it, and then they also said to the world, we'd like to set up an intercontinental network of HVDC lines. And so far the world has squashed that, thank God, because that would be a very bad idea. China thought they could rule the world with electricity generation technology because they are the ones that have the expertise in the HVDC lines. Well, you know, GE and Siemens, I'm sure, and some other companies also have knowledge about it. Well, GE just recently has asked if they could, and they've got permission to set up the first HVDC line in the United States, specifically the first large one. And they're doing this because of their wind turbines, and they need to transmit that electricity long distance. Well, they also want to bring all three. Right now the United States has 3 major electrical grids. They would like to make them one. Very bad idea again, extremely bad idea. You know, GE and Siemens so far has done everything they can to promote their intermittent energy, wind energy. And they're just doing everything. If you notice, they were into coal generation first, they're into batteries, now they're into HVDC lines, everything to attempt to fix intermittent energy. This is all for that reason. And they're making lots of money at it. They're selling wind turbines that are kind of useless. They set up these complicated SCADA operations around the world that are completely insane. And now they want to they want to connect all the grids. This needs to be stopped. The new energy invention that I proposed has the ability to have set up all localized electricity grids. Very simple to use, very independent, and can easily power this planet. Like I've stated in the United Nations Challenge, which is on my website, www.wdcpower.com, that I can generate enough electricity to power this planet 15,000 times over. Now, we're willing to give up the company if we cannot do that. We've never asked for a penny. And so I also put out a video recently talking about how this new energy invention can be integrated into our current SCADA systems and electrical infrastructure around the world to simplify it. Simplify it dramatically. Make it much cheaper to operate. Make it much safer. Make it so there's less blackouts. And for a fraction of the cost of what we're doing today in our electrical infrastructure. Now, I just listened to GE on Axios, just a podcast they had, and it was insane. I listened to a vice president talking about how the new electrical grid around the world specifically the United States, going to get a lot more complicated. That's the last thing that we need. Now, the reason for that is the intermittent energy and all this crazy stuff that GE is proposing. Their skate operations is really kind of a nightmare because they cannot predict but they cannot determine the demand and the supply. Now, my new energy invention and that new video I created explains how we can do that. We can match up supply and demand. That's something that the utility companies have never been able to do ever. It's actually, this will be considered a breakthrough that is just, for the utility companies, like a miracle, literally. Now, GE Vice President was trying to explain his approach. Enlarge the grids, so that way they can bring in electricity from anywhere, which is not a good thing, from wind, from coal plants, from nuclear plants, from solar, from everywhere that electricity will be generated, and try to match up supply and demand. Now, of all things, after I heard him say that they want to use artificial intelligence to guess, going backwards in technology, that alarmed me. It just completely alarmed me, so I decided to create this video. After listening to that podcast, which they're promoting now, that they think is a good podcast. And I'm thinking, you're going to tell the world that you think you can guess now better? And he explained it as, it used to be just a one-way highway system, which is much more simplistic, into a multi-lane highway system. Now, that makes it complicated. That probably helps GE sell products. You know, this United Nations challenge was sent to the Secretary General upon his request, and I thought he was going to send it to all the member nations. I hope he did. I'm not sure, but I hope he did. You know, I don't blame the leaders of the nations, because they go out and they listen to experts, etc. But GE and Siemens know better. They know better. They are experts, even though they don't know about this technology. They still are energy experts. They know. And they also know that this United Nations challenge is real. They've communicated with me different times. They know about it. They're in denial. They're hiding in a friggin' closet. It's shameful. You know, I don't blame them for not coming up with this new discovery, which we have done. What I blame them for is being in denial, hiding, and promoting their technology and knowing about this challenge and not stepping up to it. This challenge is critical for literally the survival of the human race. You know, we noticed today temperatures in the southwest of the United States reaching 115, 118 degrees in some of these cities. Now it's going to continue to get worse. Water shortages are enormous. You know, Lake Mead is down to 37% of its level and shrinking. Pretty soon, the Hoover Dam is not going to be able to generate. They're already down 25% energy generation. They're going to have to eliminate completely. Now, Utah says, forget about Lake Mead. Lake Powell and the Great Salt Lake City Reservoir is down to 3% of the level that it was. 3%. They said, forget about Lake Mead. Look at us. So the water shortages in the Southwest have not only become critical, they could close up large cities. This is serious, folks. And believe it or not, the Middle East, they got a heat dome going on. What is a heat dome? It traps the heat. Heck, their temperatures are higher than 117, 118. They're up in the 120s. And India and China are just as bad. They're reaching 50 degrees Celsius, which I think is like 124, 125 degrees Fahrenheit. Can you imagine? This is going on around the world. And water shortages are in India are just so severe. Pretty soon there's going to be mass deaths if it keeps on. Europe is starting to face water shortages too. And Europe with wind and solar, intermittent energy, I'm sure is going through a nightmare. Their SCADA operators are probably praying for this new energy invention. Now, I explained to it in that video how I can completely match up supply and demand. That's the trick. The new energy invention, if implemented the way I've talked about, can completely match up supply and demand, and there'll never be an issue with it. And do it to where there's no guesswork. GE wants to guess. This is crazy. This is why I created this video. It's that alarming to listen to a company the size of GE talk about guessing about how much energy to produce. And, again, they've already want to implement batteries, so they do have a backup for that. So there is no AI. It's just what did it do yesterday or last weekend with the weather changing the way it is around the world. There'll be no predictions. This is going to turn into a nightmare. This is about literally the sustainability of the human race, because climate change is going to continue to get worse and worse and worse. And at the same time, we're consuming oil at an unprecedented rate. They want to introduce electric vehicles. How long will that take? How much oil are we going to consume? We're running out of oil, according to BP. These things should be shaking up the world, and they kind of are. They're talked about it. But the actual people behind the technology are brain dead. GE and Siemens are hiding from me. Now, you may not believe this. You may think, oh boy, I'm just saying this. They're hiding. They're in the closet. I keep knocking on the door. Come out from the closet. Come out from hiding. The challenge was put to them too. You can look it up. It's a UN challenge from the Worldwide Development Corporation. You can go to my website and look at it. Now, if you don't have an expert that talks about it, what it really says is the Worldwide Development Corporation has to prove that the new energy invention that we have created can generate energy unlimited for 5% of the cost of wind and solar, distributed around the world. Now, that challenge seems to be impossible, but I'm telling you folks, it's real. And why am I not just giving it to the world? Because of what we see today. Special interest, greed, etc. Because really what I want to do is for the benefits of this to go to regular people around the entire world. Read the challenge. This is so real, folks. And right now, the only thing that's going on is ICG and Siemens hiding in a closet. It's shameful. I thank you for listening, and please have a great day.